While building a new prison is one of the solutions to address the overcrowding of detainees and inmates at the Department of Corrections, it's only a small piece of the puzzle.
And I think that long term, if the government and our community want to reduce those numbers, they have to start with the juveniles. That's where it starts. And I think that based on the work I've been doing, along with a bunch of people in the system, I think that there's a lot of progress that can be made towards reducing, the pipeline from school to prison.
Joshua Tenorio is the administrator of the courts for the judiciary of Guam and spoke before the Rotary Club of Tumon Bay about efforts to combat the hundreds of cases of juvenile delinquency on Guam, such as juvenile justice reform.
The Chief Justice, he talked about that at his State of Judiciary last May, and in September he issued a call to action. We've been convening 4 separate groups of teams focused on 4 issues that we believe that we can resolve within a year to a year and a half.
The 4 areas of concentration include evidence-based practices, the juvenile court referral process, juvenile defense prosecution, and court language. Juvenile justice reform appears to be needed more than ever, evident by recent headlines. Earlier this month, 5 boys between the ages of 11 and 14 were detained at the Department of Youth Affairs for the alleged role in multiple burglaries at Weddingale Elementary School.
These are indications of socioeconomic situations, they're indications of the lack of parental supervision, also the lack of alternatives, to deal with the things. This high percentage of juveniles are confronted with mental health issues, with substance abuse issues, and if we're not able to sort those out at the front end, we won't be able to divert them from getting into the prison.
The Weddingale burglaries aren't the only case. Just last month, Tenorio says a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old were arrested for criminal sexual conduct. Additionally, in the last school year, there were over 1,800 DOE students reported for truancy issues, a big indicator, he says, for behavior headed into juvenile delinquency.
The number of juveniles detained at DYA is very high. Usually that's around maybe between 50 and 60. In certain states, like the state of Hawaii, statewide, the number of juveniles at that level of detention is less than 25. And that's because they have created some diversion programs and have changed their way of dealing with things. We need to be able to try and identify the underlying causes of the delinquent behavior.
Tenorio says the solution is to treat juveniles as individuals rather than looking at them as numbers, as more than likely many of them are victims of crimes themselves. Along with finding alternatives to incarceration, he says the judiciary has a memorandum of understanding with DOE to provide instruction and training in areas such as anti-bullying programs, play-by-the-rules, school resource officers, and law-related education. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintaniza.